Good morning, Devils fans, on this start of the work week Monday. No game day today. And like I said yesterday, I'm going to be talking about our defensive rankings as we compare to the rest of the NHL in today's video. Now, there's going to be a lot of caveats to this, obviously, as there's different game situations. Every game is different. Watch the game, don't do spreadsheets, yada, yada, right? So I tried to account for most things using this. All these stats come from a combination of both Money Puck and Natural Stat Trick. They are free resources to use online, and that's what I'm capable of grabbing right now. The biggest stat that I'm going to be missing from this list that I believe is apparently only really available in private models is going to be rush chances for and against. In this case, I really only care about the against part, whether that's odd man rushes, breakaways, stuff like that. Now, I do know some private model stuff was tweeted out, and I believe I couldn't quite find it, but before the Sharks game, we were just league average in these categories, fairly middle of the road as far as what we actually give up. So about half the league does not give up as many chances, but about half the league gives up even more. And then, so take that into consideration with the rest of these rankings I'm about to throw out at you. Also, one last little piece of information before I start rattling off how we're doing. All these are at 5-on-5, tied game scores, and it's every team in the league taken into consideration on a rates basis for the category for the stats that matters in. Just equalizing out games played, minutes played at 5-on-5, all that stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. One thing to throw out here at the top as well that is not 5-on-5 or tied game score are all, no, I'm sorry. The rest of these stats are all situations, whether you're tied, winning, losing, by winning or losing by 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. It's taking basically every 5-on-5 game state no matter what and just totally accumulating that for all teams. So should, pretty much smooth out some of the edges at either end for any team that has some extreme outliers in either direction. We're at a pretty good sample size now. Every team's over 20 games. So generally speaking, these should be pretty spot on. Let me go ahead and quiet that up. The one part of this that I did want to touch in on was, obviously all situations doesn't always matter. We know one of our struggles is giving up an early goal. Giving up the first goal, giving it up early in a game, and basically always playing from behind. So, but also the fact that we've taken leads and then given them up and end up having to come from behind and stuff like that. So, yes, I know a big complaint about the defensive structure on the team is the rush chances against, the high danger chances against. Now that one I will be able to talk on in a moment, as well as just giving up early leads and having to play from behind all the time, and other teams being able to, play a bit more defensive structure. Teams don't go full turtle mode when they're up 1-0 early on in the first, just so you know. That's just not how it works. But I did look at, okay, how does our team play when we're winning? How does our team play when we're losing? Whether that's first, second, third period, whether that's by 1, 2, 3 goals even. How's it going? Well, we have the second best expected goals for percentage. Now, I could have gone through a whole litany of different stats here, but then this video would have been infinity long. So instead of just like, okay, when we're winning, how many chances, cumulatively are we giving up? How many chances are we cumulatively putting against the other team? What's that look like when compared to each other? And well, we had the second best expected goals percentage in the league when we're leading. We had the second best expected goals percentage in the league when we're losing. Essentially, we always have our foot on the pedal. We are pushing play in the right direction, whether it's tied, whether we're winning, whether we're losing. We are playing good hockey. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the very specific defensive stats. Now, I did not do this, so those are on a percentage basis. That is taking your offense into account, right? For most of the rest of these stats, I'm only looking at what are we giving up against. So that is not going to be buoyed by how much we're putting up a 4. We've done a ton of these videos. Everyone's watching, here's the stats. Yes, we're putting up more chances for than we're giving up against. But if we're giving up the most chances against, yada, yada, right? So I really just wanted to look at the raw numbers, what we are giving up, not how that looks compared to how much we're putting up against the other team, right? So let's start at the top. I rambled enough here. Corsi against. So this is purely just every shot attempt that we are giving up against ourselves, whether it's blocked, whether it misses the net, whatever, just the team winds up and takes a shot against us because they are in our zone for whatever reason. We had the fourth best odds, not odds, we had the fourth best Corsi against in the entire league, and by quite a good margin. Now, the 3 teams ahead of us, I believe the first best team is Carolina. That has a pretty good lead there. Then it's the next 3 teams, us at fourth, and then there's a nice little gap until you get the fifth and the rest of the league. Again, that is purely just shots we are giving up against ourselves. Fourth best in the league. Okay, what about unblocked shots? Fifth best in the entire league. I'm going to go ahead and jump to a stat I have later on. Our worst category, our worst stat in this entire thing is going to be blocked shots. We are the worst in the league at raw total blocked shots. You can explain that about a million different ways. It's going to be the system we play. It's going to be the guys in the lineup. But really what it comes down to is we are more of a stick checking team. We are in lanes taking away passes. And I'm sure the part of the thought process is, if you're blocking a shot, you're also risking deflecting it into your own net, which we have had happen a few times. But also, because this is a raw number, just raw block shots, worse in the league, we have the puck a lot, and we're shooting at the other end a lot. So the opportunity for us to actually block shots is not a lot. Again, we only give up the fourth most shot attempts. We give up the fourth least shot attempts. We give up the fifth least unblocked shot attempts. So actual block chances to actually block shots are far and few between. And then also just the system we play, the guys we have on the team, the way we like to play our defensive structure, overwhelming a guy, really never giving a chance to get shots against. We don't block a lot. So if you want to say that's an area we can improve in, sure, but I don't really think that's anything to worry about. So let's continue on. Now, what about just actual shots? What actually gets through and hits the net? Well, 12th best. Almost middle of the road, not quite top 10, but 12th best in the league as far as actual shots that reach through and hit our net. Is that absolutely fantastic? No, but it's pretty good, especially, again, when you factor in how many shots we're putting up against the other team. Now, goals against, 4th worst. I'm sure you saw that one coming, just actual what is going in the net, 4th worst in the league. You can go to yesterday's goalie video to figure out why that is happening. Now, what about expected goals? So this is taking the goalie out of the situation and purely just what are the quality of chances, accumulating that up. So, low danger, medium, high, all that. Give it a value, add those all up. How are we looking? Well, 7th best in the entire NHL as far as expected goals against. So that's pretty good. But, actual goals, 4th worst. Watch yesterday's video, watch today's video. You're going to kind of get the idea of what I'm getting at here. What about scoring chances against? Not every shot is a very great scoring chance. Not every scoring chance is a shot. Well, we are the 2nd best in the league there as far as giving up actual scoring chances. That is, slot passes going through the slot, going to a guy for an attempt, doesn't actually make it onto net. Maybe he whiffs on the shot, maybe it's blocked, maybe he shanks it, whatever. But it's a scoring chance because of the likelihood of a pass like that making it through and a bunch of other things that can go into scoring chances. Well, we're the 2nd best in the league at not giving those up. That takes in rush attempts. That takes in breakaways. That's all of that. 2nd best. Now, a bit more of a goalie stat as it relates to defense, and this one I think can kind of go into both buckets, but we are the 11th worst in rebound shots against. Essentially, shot gets through, goalie gives up a rebound. What are the shot attempts against after that rebound? Well, we're the 11th worst in the league. That's partly on the goalie for giving up rebounds in spots that are giving up shots again, but it's also on the defense for not gathering that puck or not tying up a stick, yada, yada. So that is something you can kind of put in both buckets, something that probably should be worked on the team. Now, we are 7th worst in rebound goals against. So that's, those are fairly closely correlated. Bottom 10, 7th worst in the league as far as shot that gets through, goalie makes the initial save, rebound out, next shot, or at least next shot attempt after that, whatever, is a goal against. Not great. So that is something that is both goalie and defense that you can kind of tie together. Going to get back now into more just specifics, right? So that's raw. Okay, yeah, maybe we don't give up a lot of low or medium danger chances because all I'm talking about here are basically shots and stuff against, right? We give up a lot of breakaways, high danger stuff, tap-ins on the back post, a guy that's wide open that we left open there, right? Well, those type of chances give large numbers in expected goals against, and we do really, really well there. But Anywho, what about high danger shots against, right? We have the 13th best high danger shots against in the league. 12 teams do better. What is that? 20 teams do worst. 13th best, or yeah, whatever, 19 teams do worst. High danger shots against. So we're not exactly middle of the road, but, in the, top third there of high danger shots against. 12th best in medium shots against. 5th best in low danger shots against. Pretty much so. So we are not in the bottom of any of those categories. Top 5 in low danger. We just don't give up a lot of low danger shots against. Medium and high, top third of the league in both of those categories. We know we're not a defensive stalwart team. That's not how we're built. We don't need to be top 5 in all these categories because we know the offense that we're putting up. That's why our percentage numbers, expected goals for, Corsi for, Fenwick for, are all top of the league. Top 3, top 2. I did that at our 20-game check-in I talked about. So again, this video is purely just looking at the defensive effort and what we're giving up because everyone thinks that the defensive responsibility is just not that we're giving up so many more chances than every other league or every other team in the league. The numbers just do not bear that out no matter what you look at. Okay, next up, what about high danger goals against? Well, second worst in the league. So we're not giving up a lot of high danger shots against, 13th there. Comparatively, high danger we're producing versus what we're giving up. We're one of the best in the entire league. But as far as actual goals that go in the net, second worst. Kind of comes back to what yesterday's video was about in goaltending. Now, let's talk about, again, I'm trying to focus mostly on defense here, not goalie, but as far as actual goals going in, second worst at high danger. Now, takeaways. Maybe, we talked about this in the, I'm blanking, was this Detroit game? I think was the best example of this, where we had the puck, we were giving up the puck in the defensive zone or right at the blue line, giving up those chances. Yeah, maybe they weren't peppering the net, but because we had these giveaways or they had takeaways, they were out of position. They get a great chance against, and it's in our net. So it's not cumulatively adding up a lot of high danger, but the ones we are giving up are so crazy that they just end up in the net every single time. Every other team goes through that, and they don't give it up every single time. But let's actually look at the numbers, right? So takeaways against. So giveaways and takeaways are different. A giveaway is not, there's not a one-to-one there. Just because if you give the puck away, that's not a takeaway. If they take the puck away, it's not a giveaway. It depends on who the onus is on. So, the other team makes a great play. They have a takeaway against us. How are we doing there? Well, we're the 8th best in the league as far as takeaways go. 8th best. What is that? 24 other teams give the puck away, have the puck taken away at a high, at more opportunities than we do. Remember, these are all rates. So I try to even out games played, minutes, all that. Now, what about giveaways? How many, maybe we're giving the puck away a whole bunch. Well, no, we're the 12th best in the league there. So still, we're talking, top third, definitely top half. Not even quite middle, just outside the top 10 as far as how much we're giving the puck away. Okay, well, what about in the D zone? Yeah, maybe we give the puck away, we're getting takeaways when we're in the O zone because we're there so much, but those D zone ones are such killers. Well, we're dead middle of the road. We're 16th, 17th based on who you're looking at. As far, best, worst, giveaways in the D zone, literally league average, right in the D zone there, as far as what we are giving away. Teams aren't threatened by us. I've seen a little bit of that. We're not physically taking teams out of the game. They're not really worried about being hit and the puck being taken away, so they take a little bit more liberties on the types of plays they're making to have better chances. Well, we are 15th, and this is raw numbers here. This isn't even per 60, just raw hits. 15th in the league. We're 14th in hits taken. So on a percentage basis, we are dead middle of the road. 15th, or slightly ahead of middle of the road. 15th in the league from a hits percentage. We actually out-hit. We hit more than we are getting hit. Right in the middle of the road. And, looking at our team, I think that's fairly reasonable what we're looking at. That's all of my just raw defensive total. So that's taking the forwards, the defensemen, all of that into consideration. Okay, that is pure team stats, pure rates compared to the entire league. We are top of the road in some of these. We are top 10 in a lot, middle of the road in others, and outside of shots blocked, we are not even close to bottom in any of them. In any of them. Outside of blocks, which again, we have raw block shots, we are worse than the league. And if you want to make that's the argument why we're having these troubles, I don't see how anyone's going to agree with that, considering I do agree. I think some of our worst, the worst opportunities are the breakaways and the odd man rushes and those high danger against. The thing is we are not giving that up at any higher rate than most of the league, we are at worst league average, if not top 10, if not top 5 in all those opportunities. The biggest difference is our goalies just aren't making the saves. So, yeah, watch the game. This is what we're giving up. Okay, I can't watch every single team playing every single game. I watch every Devils game, and I watch about a handful, at least one, if not a handful of a game every day beyond that. So I do see a lot of other teams, but I'm not watching every game. That's where the analytics come in, where you can kind of get a good picture, especially when you're this far into the season and stats are sort of normalizing to what is the reality of what a team is doing. We're just not getting saves, guys. That's really what it comes down to. So to wrap this up, I looked at our individual defensive pairings. How are they doing? Well, I did a minimum. So this is actually just looking at the defensive pairing. So you're taking, the forward lines out of it, yada, yada. I looked at minimum of 70 minutes played. Basically, that is, about an 8-game sample size of playing together. That also let me get Luke and Miller into the sample count. It also is guys that have played a decent chunk together. You're taking out, odd, weird pairings at the bottom. So really just trying to look at pairings that are actual pairings that have played. So some of these guys are at 150 something minutes. Some of these are at 70. So I did normalize this at a percentage basis. And this is out of 140 pairings. So obviously that is, guys, injuries coming in and out, guys getting called up, lines swapping around from early in the season to later in the season. So this is 140 pairings have played at least 70 minutes together at an expected goals for percentage. So this is I didn't want to just look at goals against, even though Luke and Miller have the best goals against in the league, or no, third. So it was second or third. Just raw expected goals against, they were the best. But I wanted to look at, because some are more offensive, some are defensive. So really, it's what are you doing for me on the whole? And so I didn't want to talk about, I didn't want to look at just, because obviously shutdown pairs are going to do really good in just the against. Offensive pairs are really going to do just good in the scoring area. So this is a expected goals for percentage stat here. Again, 70-minute minimum, 140 pairings. The best pairing in the entire NHL, Luke Hughes and Colin Miller. At 72.17 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5. The next closest, the second best, 66.74. They are by far and away. And second through like 5th, 8th, or whatever, was all clumped in that mid-60 range. By far and away, Luke and Miller just dominating the NHL as far as the chances they were putting up. And again, they were like third and just raw against totals. And then they buoy that. We're in a ridiculous stance by the chances and goals opportunities they are putting up as well. And this is just 5-on-5, so that's not, it's not Luke or anything doing anything crazy with the power play. What about the rest? Okay, so yeah, no, Luke Miller's fantastic. What about the rest? Well, Siegenthaler and Dougie are 16th out of 140 pairings, 16th in the entire NHL. Ball and Marino, 49th. I've been playing Ball Marino as our second pairing, but really Luke and Miller, since they've come on, have gotten a lot of minutes, but that's still all three top 50. 16th higher, and then the best pairing in the entire league there. Now, yeah, okay, sure. We're not giving up a lot of low, medium, but they're giving up all those high danger chances against, right? Yeah, so let's look at that. What are the high danger chances given up compared to what they're putting up? Best in the league, Luke and Miller still. 12th best in the league, Siegs and Dougie. 55th, Ball and Marino. So yeah, the Ball Marino pair is struggling, but they're still top half, almost top third out of 140 pairings, being 55th or 49th respectively. It's not the defense, guys. Yeah, they give up opportunities. Yes, there's breakaways. Yes, there's on-man rushes. Yes, there's backdoor tap-ins. Every team gives those up. All of them. Some of them are better at it, obviously, absolutely. But then we do a lot more offensively than those teams are doing, generally speaking. I don't know what other numbers I could really look at, except for, again, the odd-man rushes and breakaways, but I don't have those raw totals I can really look at. Like I said, there was something on Twitter coming out that were pretty middle of the road in both of those categories. It's the goalies. They have to start making some saves. It's just what it comes down to. And if you watched yesterday's video, the options of upgrading in that, it's not a lot. So we really just need Vitek and or Schmid at some point to really pull this together sooner rather than later. Who cares about the raw standings? Look at just, use your brain, guys. Context clues. We're right there in the mix. Vancouver game tomorrow. All three Hughes boys. Can't wait to talk about that one. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this. If you feel like there's a category I completely whiffed on here, if there's something else I should have brought up, let me know. But I think the numbers really do speak for themselves here. It's going to do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, as always, and forever. Let's go down.